The opinions and views expressed by individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of this network, their group, or other organization they may be involved with.
I'm looking at myself, reflections of my mind. It's just the kind of day to leave myself behind. So gently swaying through the fairyland of love. If you'll just come with me, you'll see the beauty of Tuesday evening news. Tuesday evening
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Psychedelic Reporters for this Tuesday, the 14th of July, episode 214 here on NOK Network, the video news podcast focused on psychedelic medicine, being reported in mainstream media. Shout out to the guys in Dead Ringer for Kirkland Lake, Ontario, for the awesome intro track, originally recorded by the Moody Blues, with some customized changes for our show. I am joined by my amazing joint host, Tara Simpson, along with the one and only Bufo Alvarius, who has chosen all of our stories for us. Hello, Tara.
Well, hello, hobbies, and hello, everyone. I would like to take a minute to introduce Bufo. He's our Sonoran desert toad, or Colorado mud toad. Did you know he emits DMT from his skin? And well, that sounds like great fun. Park rangers would like to remind everyone, please don't lick the toads.
Don't lick the toads. Okay. So I'm going to jump into it because you guys had a fuck of a weekend. You guys are ready to jump back into the studio working.
Yeah, we had a fantastic weekend. Not going to lie. It was an epic party up at Kim's for the 710 Stoner Games. And yeah, serious burnout mode. Not going to lie. But lots of psychedelics were had on Friday night. And what an epic, epic weekend.
Okay, so my screen is showing different than hers, but I don't have the picture. So this is OregonLive.com. And in our first article, the man who started the push for legal psychedelic mushrooms in Oregon just closed his Portland psilocybin center. And this is written by Lizzie Acker.
Okay, so Inner Trek Center for Psilocybin Services closed this month, less than 3 years after opening its doors, as one of Portland's earliest and most ambitious facilities for the legal use of psychedelic mushrooms. As Inner Trek continues to grow as a national training organization, we made the decision to focus our energy on training, education, and practicum partnerships across the United States, rather than renewing and operating a single licensed service center location, Inner Trek Director of Operations Lisa Schneider said Monday. The center, part of the larger Inner Trek organization that included training programs for psilocybin facilitators, began hosting clients facilitated mushroom sessions in late 2023 in the first wave of service centers opening across the state. Rachel Aiden and Tom Eckett, two longtime figures in the industry, were behind what at the time promised to be one of the highest volume centers in Portland. Wow, that's pretty cool, eh?
Yeah. Shit, my thing paused on me. Can you read
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
paragraph?
Aidan is the former CEO of Synthesis Institute and spent decades exploring the use of psilocybin to treat trauma. Since this ran out of money and paused its training program in 2023.
Okay. So Eckert is one of the architects of legal psychedelic mushrooms in Oregon. He and his then wife, Sherry Eckert, started the process to get the initiatives on the ballot in 2015, which became Oregon's framework for legal use of psilocybin. Sherry Eckert died months, rest in peace, after the measure she helped create was passed by voters in 2020. Um, Tom Eckert continued to work in the industry after Sherry Eckert's death, first as the chair of the state's advisory board and then directing a facilitator training program, Intercheck. Eckert and Aiden were married, then they opened Intercheck Center for Psilocybin Service. Eckert is still the executive director of the Intercheck. Aiden stepped away early to focus on other things, according to Snyder, who declined to say if the couple was still married. Before opening, Aiden told the Oregon Live that she expected Intercheck Center for Psilocybin Services would serve around 1,000 clients a year, or roughly 20 a week. They didn't quite achieve those numbers. Over the last 3 years, the Intercheck Service Center supported more than 1,270 clients and participants. Snyder said, noting the center also hosted research and data collection and efforts and served as a practice home for multiple Intercheck training cohorts. When the service center opened, facilitated experiences started at $850 for groups and 1,500 individuals for a scholarship available. Holy fudge.
Yeah, I mean, that's not overly expensive, I guess, if you consider, I paid probably 3 times that to take my personal support worker program. I paid probably even more than that to take my pharmacy tech program. So for people, I guess, if this is for like the training aspect, that's actually reasonable, I guess, in a sense for education. I don't know if it gets, more expensive other places, but that's not too bad. The first
Right, but that was the people to trip. That wasn't the classes.
Oh, that was for people to trip. Oh,
the classes there are the next price.
Oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha. No, that's a little high. I mean, it doesn't cost that to have the mushrooms. I guess you're paying for staffing time and stuff as well, I guess. But that's crazy. Like, who can afford that? I don't have $1,500 to go and trip on mushrooms, but I can get those mushrooms and go and have my own experience and talk to my friends afterwards about it. I don't know. Much cheaper. The first level of facilitator training with Intercheck is $3,200. The second level, with an additional element required to practice in Oregon or Colorado, costs $9,300. Okay, that's a little fucking retarded. I'm just saying.
For second level. What the hell kind of a jump is that?
That's crazy. Like that's insane. Like that. I don't.
$6,000 jump.
Yeah.
What are you learning different?
Yeah, I don't get that. Schneider,
are you walking on water?
Right? Schneider called the change, which was spurred by the end of Intercheck's lease at the colorful, fair-haired dumbbell building in Portland's Central East Side, a meaningful transition point for Intercheck. We're incredibly excited to go beyond one physical location as we continue to shape the future of legal psychedelic care and facilitator training across the United States, she said. Yeah, that's a little expensive. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think that's a little bit much. I think that we could train people a lot cheaper. But I guess they got to make their money too, is how it works, right? I mean, that's kind of how the world works, unfortunately. But
Well, this is where I get frustrated with natural medicines. Okay, they're natural medicines. I'm a puppet. I'm broke. I go and I cheer people up. It doesn't pay anything. So if I
No.
want my mushrooms, and I go and I stick them in my mouth, one dose at $1,200 microdose to tell me and analyze it does not like I can't rationalize the cost.
I know. That's crazy for one session.
And then to teach people to give natural medicines, I feel that if I charge you $3,200, that you may not be able to do your job because who the fuck's got $3,200 to learn to fucking just watch someone go through their shit so they can take medical mushrooms?
Well, here's the thing. I was at this event this past weekend. Friday night is Psychedelic Friday. People were consuming high doses of mushrooms all weekend and some LSD. Not gonna lie, there was LSD floating around apparently too. And no one left the property. No one went into a psychosis. Nobody had a crazy bad trip that any of us had to calm them down from. It was peaceful and awesome, and everyone had a great time. And I'm sure that people left there at the end of the weekend with some new meaning to their life and maybe some changes in their thought process. I guess we'll have to see next year when we do follow up.
So I was going to ask you guys on that before we go into the thing. I was curious of how Psychedelic Friday was.
It was absolutely epic. This girl here did some quite a few mushrooms actually. Small doses through the day, and then into the evening started consuming, a little bit more than I would normally consume. Had a great time, had some great conversations. The stars were epic to stare at. There was a lot of stuff going on Friday. Even karaoke. There were people on mushrooms doing karaoke. Not lying. That was how it went down. And they were absolutely great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, was there a table of mushrooms, or did everybody have to bring their own?
Well, there were people that brought their own, and then there were people who, brought products that they made for sharing while up there. So there was no shortage of psychedelic options.
Did you have a trip sitter setting where you?
No, there was no one designated as a trip sitter. Everyone just took mushrooms and did their own thing. And then the rest of us who were all on mushrooms were just kind of aware that everyone's on mushrooms. So be mindful of, if you see someone off in the corner crying, maybe they're not having a great trip and we should go over and check on them. Or so everyone was just kind of watching out for everybody, but nobody needed to watch out for anyone because there was nothing bad that happened. So nobody had a bad trip that I'm aware of. No one went, streaking through the fields, high on mushrooms. I mean, there was nothing wild and crazy and out of the ordinary for people consuming.
I want to go through streaking through the news.
Right. I mean, we've reported on stories where people do stupid things or get hurt because they took mushrooms. Well, no, that wasn't the case. Everyone was doing high doses of mushrooms, higher than they would normally do, maybe at home even. And there was never a bad moment for anyone that I'm aware of. In fact, some people stayed up all night, I think, just enjoying the mushroom buzz and
the mushroom trip. That's
right?
Awesome. Oh, and then
there was a handful of people still up Saturday morning when I woke up at 5:00 and was a little bit like, what in the hell? Like, why is there still music playing at 5:00 in the morning?
You got cups. Yeah, you got games. You got to run. You got to chase shit in a little bit.
But I get it. I mean, weekend away, you're out in the middle of nowhere. You've got psychedelics and music, and it's just that freedom and that relaxing vibe. So it's always like that. Friday night, generally the party night. Saturday, everyone's kind of done for the day and does all the games. And then by Saturday night, everyone's burnt out and has to leave for Sunday. So it's usually an earlier night on the Saturday night for people. Not that people didn't stay up last year. There was still a handful. I don't think they slept all weekend. But But the vast majority of us need sleep eventually. So Saturday night was a little quieter. I think most people were done by about 1 a.m.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, let's continue this on. Oh man, that's a fun time. I got to figure out how to sneak myself in a suitcase when Jay goes.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, Courant.com. All right. Starting July 1st, Connecticut medical programs using psychedelics opens to the public. There's high demand. And this is written by Olivia Stanford.
Yeah, a new law taking effect Wednesday expands a Yale pilot program that uses psilocybin with structured therapy to treat depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder, and related conditions. Researchers say early results are promising as the treatment has been well tolerated, but they caution that the study is ongoing. Lead researchers who have implemented the program in collaboration with the Yale School of Medicine and the Connecticut Mental Health Center said early outcomes suggest that many participants experience improvements in functioning and symptoms. The program was previously limited to first responders, Connecticut veterans, and direct healthcare workers. Now, those who are at least 18 years or older and meet clinical eligibility criteria set by the Institutional Review Board of Yale University can participate according to the Office of Legislative Research Analysis of the new law. These medicines can be very effective with the right safety and protection in a controlled environment, said State Senator Saad Anwar, physician, co-chair of the state's Public Health Committee and proponent of the bill. This is not legalization. This actually can be a very dangerous chemical when not used under careful supervision by experts who deal with it. I call bullshit. Psilocybin is a naturally occurring psychedelic compound produced by several species of mushrooms. The active ingredient in what are commonly called magic mushrooms, the FDA has not yet approved psilocybin for medical use.
Where are we?
Psychedelic drugs.
Oh yeah, here we are. Psychedelic drugs have for decades had a complicated place in our culture. Whether that be searching that is mind altering and scary or something that is life changing, said Dr. Chris Pittenger, co-founder of the Yale Program for Psychedelic Science and one of the lead researchers overseeing an implementation of the program. I think both of these are extreme positions, but there are lots of people who would have them. There are people who are excited about the use of psychedelic drugs as an alternative to traditional treatments for depression and other conditions. And some of the early data look very promising. Gabrielle Agan Liebs, a licensed clinical psychologist and instructor who serves as the lead investigator at the state-funded psilocybin trial, said in an email that 17 patients have completed treatment with psilocybin. The response has been encouraging, Agent Liebs said. The study is designed to approximate real-world conditions in which psilocybin may be administered, while still maintaining rigorous screening, monitoring, and safety procedures. Early outcomes suggest that many participants experience meaningful improvements in symptoms. Functioning through results remain preliminary. She said some patients have adverse effects, including transition increases in blood pressure, anxiety, headache, nausea, dizziness, and temporary emotional distress. Most events have been mild to moderate and self-limited, she said. She said psychedelics may temporarily increase psychological flexibility, emotional openness, and the ability to examine regular patterns of thinking, feeling, and behavior. In a supportive therapeutic setting, This may help patients process difficult emotions, new perspectives, develop greater self-compassion as a connectedness, she said. However, in the same measure, Ashton Leaf says psychedelics can carry psychological and medical risk, especially without screening, supervision, and follow-up. Potential risks include acute anxiety, panic, distressing experiences, increased blood pressure or heart rate, impaired judgment, and possibly worsening of symptoms in vulnerable individuals. This is why real-world implementation must be studied carefully with appropriate safeguards. Dr. Benjamin Kelamendi, assistant professor for the Yale Program for Psychedelic Science, said in an email that response to the program has been substantial. Wow, you want to read the last paragraph? Or I didn't realize we were done.
Yeah, enrollment demand has outpaced what we projected, and clinicians across Connecticut have been asking how to refer patients in, he said. These people who have completed treatment describe something closer to a change in how they relate to their illness rather than quietening of the symptoms. That response tells us the design is meeting a need in the existing system has not. A treatment serious enough for conditions that have resisted everything else. Kelmendi said the program is needed because conventional psychiatry helps some people and fails a substantial number. For treatment-resistant depression, anxiety, PTSD, and OCD, the standard tools leave a meaningful fraction of patients. Oh, shit, where did that go? Meaningful fraction of patients still suffering and out of options, he said. We designed this study to be transdiagnostic to admit the comorbidities, the stable medications, and the complex presentations that real patients actually carry, rather than the narrow, idealized cases most trials select for.
Wow. I like that. I Connecticut, see, today, after that first article, I'm having a problem now. I'm having a problem because all I see is money signs, structure, all this shit. When let's just teach the people. All right, so this is what's going on down here in Louisiana. There's a veteran guy that goes to the local public library, started a mycology chapter, and teaches people how to safely grow their own medicines. Now, we are not able to down here, but this guy's call, his advocacy to make sure people are getting clean, safe medicine.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I'm hoping that you and Kim get to interview. I've already been kind of dropping the seeds. Been like, hey, dude, I know a psychedelic open your eyes show where you can talk about your advocacy in psychedelic medicine and the vets.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely have it on.
Yeah, podcasts are starting to really pick them up down here. Before our puff break, EmmaLive.com has a good news article, okay? And this is cool. This is I like this one. Ann Arbor. Yeah, Ann Arbor is the place where they have that huge medical fest. They didn't let that psilocybin fest go there with drugs, but they had an awareness festival or whatever the hell. This is Ann Arbor siblings get silly at new psilocybin mushroom store, and this is by Khalil.
Yeah. What started as a pandemic era delivery service for two siblings is now a brick and mortar psychedelic mushroom shop in their hometown. Carrie Johnson and Kyle Page opened Silly May or Silly, May 8th at 564 South Main Street in Ann Arbor, where they offer mushroom stems, gummies, and capsules. And so far, Johnson said, it's a cool feeling to feel that accepted that people are trusting us. Formerly worked in special education around Metro Detroit, the 45-year-old said the COVID-19 pandemic offered her a chance to help her community in a different way. And it was also in 2020 that recreational use of psychedelic mushrooms was decriminalized in Ann Arbor. That chance has turned into a family business. She and her brother run together as equal partners. We definitely balance each other out very well, Paige said. Business-wise, personal-wise, everything. There aren't many siblings that could work together. Paige, 50, was working in TV and film before his sister reached out with a business opportunity, and he jumped right in. At first, he was tickled and a little surprised, but he noticed Johnson's determination and was sold. After starting the delivery service in 2021, Silly now serves as a brand for customers looking for a recreational experience. It also helps customers working through mental health challenges or substance dependencies. That's cool. I like that they have that aspect to their business.
Yeah, we realized that we could use the knowledge to help the people. Paige said the mental health portion of things is really kind of where Silly aims. A mirror mark for Silly, according to Mayor Page, came when they realized the impact their mushrooms were having to customers. While the majority of the customers stopping by weren't always seeking out a trip, he said they were more equipped to provide interested customers mushrooms a good time. Silly's goals are to continue giving access to medicinal properties of psilocybin, increasing the legitimacy of the psychedelic mushroom industry, and providing the Ann Arbor community with useful information about the ways these fungi can be used. As Silly grows, Johnson and Page hope to remain a welcoming presence that evolves alongside Ann Arbor. Both are excited to see what the future holds. This is where the area is going to change, and we are going to have the pivot at some point, legally or otherwise. I know we're headed in the right direction. Their website with more information can be found here on this clicky link. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's kind of cool. I don't know if I can work with my brother. My older one, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a couple of brothers, and I don't know that I could work with them either. I mean, it would take some definite planning and discussions and stuff to see if it would work right. Right. Man, it's good articles for the first part. Good articles for the part. You would think I would know this line right now by heart. It's medication time. That's right, folks. It's time to pay some bills. So stay tuned for a word from some of our amazing sponsors, and then we will return with more articles UFO has chosen making mainstream media news.
Back in 4 minutes and 20 seconds here on Psychedelic Reporters on NOK Network.
Dirty Dave, award-winning cultivator for over 4 decades. Dirty Dave, prized genetics fueled by advanced nutrients, original OG organics. Dirty Dave, award-winning products available at these fine establishments. Ask your shop to carry Dirty Dave. Contact us at dirtiesdoggies@gmail.com.
Join us for NOK Network monthly specials, 12 months a year, movie nights, spotlights on entertainment, and live on location coverage. Stay up to date about upcoming programming by subscribing to NOK Network on Rumble, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Facebook. Check out our webpage at www.noknetwork.com.
Hey, hi, my name is John Mark, aka Sublimator Warrior, and I would like to welcome you to Smoke Signal in Tyndinaga.
One dab make your whole dome drip sweat. One dab make the homies all dip set.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga.
Ooey, ooey, gooey, that's a sticky dab. Sticky dab. Might just have to put this one on Instagram.
Smoke Signals,
Go ahead,
Tyndinaga.
hold it in, feel it in your wrist.
Smoke Signals, Tyndinaga.
Check us out in Tyndinaga. 55 Highway 49 in Tyndinaga. It's on the res, and we're open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week.
Now we get back to the show.
Hey, and we're back from our medication session live here on Psychedelic Reporters on NOK Network.
And we have another set of stories coming at you from the realm of psychedelic medicine. So let's get at it. I gotta hit that button. Oh, this is a cool article on woodtv.com. University of Michigan is awarded $3.3 million by NIH to study the use of psychedelics. And this is by Matt Jaworowski.
Yeah, the University of Michigan's medical school has received a $3.3 million grant to explore how Americans perceive and use psychedelics. The grant funding was announced last week by the National Institute on Drug Abuse, a part of the National Institute of Health. Watchdog groups have noticed a rise in psychedelic use in recent years because of trends they claim they can help manage mental illness. Psychedelics are still a Schedule I substance according to federal law, but some states and cities have instituted policies decriminalizing them. Psychedelics are a class of substance that alter perception, mood, and impact several cognitive processes, mostly by affecting the brain's serotonin receptors. Psilocybin, magic mushrooms, LSD, and mescaline are some of the most common ones. Unlike other drugs, psychedelics are natural and do not lead to addiction. Which is, again, we've seen this time and time again. Mushrooms are helping people, not harming people. And this past weekend, again, was actual proof. And we had probably 50 or 55 people all on mushrooms and LSD, and there wasn't a single issue, and nobody overdosed, and no one had to go to the hospital, and no one had mental breakdowns or left there in psychosis. So, you know, I kind of think that we're okay here. Kevin Bohanec, an assistant professor of anesthesiology at UM, and the associate director of the Michigan Psychedelic Center, will lead the study. He believes hard science should be used to discern the truth. We need carefully designed clinical trials to fully understand the risk and benefit of these substances. But psychedelic policy is moving faster than research base and enables access and use of the substances for both medical and non-medical reasons, Bohanec said in a university blog post. This study gave us a complementary way to understand trends and how people are thinking about and using these substances at a time when law, regulations, and access are rapidly changing across the country, he continues. Garrett Hannon cut psilocybin mushrooms in his Uptown Fungus lab to prepare for distribution in Springfield, Oregon on Monday, April 14th, 2023. The project plans to measure the nation's attitude and perception of risks and benefits through 4 annual surveys. That's pretty cool. I'll let you finish the last. I didn't realize this was short and sweet too.
Yeah, so it also includes a separate study on people who use psychedelics, how they use them, and their notable health outcomes. The Michigan Psychedelic Center launched in 2022 and is quickly growing a portfolio of research. George Masur, the founding director of the MPC, said NIH providing funding to study psychedelics is rare. We are now one of the very few centers in the U.S. with support across the translational spectrum, with fundamental neuroscience to large-scale community-engaged research. Mashur said, I am thrilled to Dr. Boyanke and excited about his national study. That's a good article.
Yeah, very good.
Oh, man. So our next article comes out of marijuanamoment.net. Marijuanamoment.net states, bipartisan congregational bill would codify Trump's psychedelic order into law. What the hell does codify mean, do you ask? I ask it. And this is written by Tom Angel. This is gearing it up so insurance pays for it all and it becomes a big money fucking game.
Very likely. Bipartisan congressional lawmakers have filed a bill they say is intended to codify into law an executive order President Donald Trump issued to streamline research and access into psychedelic medicine. Representative Morgan Luttrell, Republican, Texas, Lou Corriera, Democrat, California, Jack Bergman, Republican, Michigan, and Michael McCall, Republican, Texas, introduced the initiating biomedical outcomes to garner advancements into innovative neuroplastogen efficacy Act on Monday. So ibogaine. The legislation would direct the Attorney General to take all necessary steps to determine whether to transfer ibogaine and ibogaine compounds from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2 of the Controlled Substances Act within 60 days. It also says that the Attorney General and the Health and Human Services Secretary would need to initiate proceedings to reschedule any other Schedule 1 substance that completes Phase 3 clinical trials. Last month, President Donald Trump ushered in a new era of treatment options for our veterans with his executive order accelerating medical treatments for serious mental illness. We must codify it into law and ensure this progress is not lost, Luttrell said in a press release. Psychedelic therapy has helped me and countless other veterans, improving our lives for the better. As we fight to combat our veterans' suicide crisis, this breakthrough must be available to the men and women of our nation. The new measure would create a definition under federal law for ibogaine to include all parts of the plant, tetranabeth iboga, as well as any similar compounds or analogs that acts on neuroplasticity, opioid receptors, or serotonin,
Serotonergic. Yeah, serotonergic. Yeah.
pathways that interrupt addiction cycles and restore neurological function disrupted by trauma, chronic substance use, or traumatic brain injury. This would further codify a national priority voucher program to support development of psychedelic and other therapies that can treat widespread maladies. Our veterans put their lives on the line to defend our country, and far too many come home with invisible wounds. They deserve access to every effective resource available to help treat PTSD and support their recovery, Korea said. Psychedelic assisted therapy is showing promising results, but we need more research and funding in order for this treatment to become a reality.
The Democratic Congressman added that President Trump's support has been a game changer for our effort in support of psychedelic reform. The legislation would additionally clarify that the federal right to try law provides exemptions from the CSA for seriously ill patients to access psychedelics and other Schedule I drugs in accordance with a new special registration requirement it would create. I mean, this all sounds great, but I mean, I can't help but have this mistrust here. The Drug Enforcement Administration would also have to revise its quotas for the amount of a controlled substance that can be legally produced if it is rescheduled, approved by the Food and Drug Administration, or designated as a breakthrough therapy. Our veterans and special operators have willingly put themselves in unimaginable danger to defend our freedoms, McCall said. We have a profound moral obligation to help these heroes heal from their wounds, both seen and unseen. As this executive order from Clear, President Trump deeply understands our duty to care for them and the potential of treatments like ibogaine to provide lasting healing. The bill also creates a process for federal agencies to partner with states to advance research on and development of psychedelic drugs, including ibogaine for treating serious mental illnesses, as well as a framework for health agencies and Department of Veterans Affairs to collaborate with the private sector to increase clinical trial participation, data sharing, and real-world evidence generation regarding psychedelic drugs. President Trump's executive order sent a strong and low overdose message to the federal bureaucracy. Yes, the days of slow walk in progress are over, Bergman said. Agencies now have clear direction from the top to move forward, deliver for our veterans and families who have been waiting far too long. However, executive action alone is not enough. An executive order cannot rewrite federal law, and it can be reversed by future administrations. He said, that's why I'm proud to support this legislation that codifies these directives into the law and ensures lasting change. Congress must continue to act to streamline FDA approvals and address outdated restrictions and guarantee the VA fully implements these policies so veterans have access to treatment options they deserve as soon as they become available. Wow. It has a good message.
For sure, absolutely. Luttrell and some of the co-sponsors of the new bill are also behind a proposed amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act that would extend a psychedelics research effort at the Department of Defense for an additional 6 years. That proposal was cleared this week for floor action by the House Rules Committee. Correa and Bergman, co-chairs of the Congressional Psychedelics Advancing Therapies, also known as PATH caucus, both recently spoke about the need to enact into law provisions to protect the intent of the executive action to ensure ongoing support for psychedelic research for military veterans and people with certain mental health conditions, even under future presidencies. Korea said they are working jointly to make sure that we put this into legislation to move forward permanently, finding a solution for PTSD every day in America, adding that the novel therapy will revolutionize the way we treat mental health in America and potentially lead to helping us with addressing homelessness. Bergman, for his part, said that when you've got the top cover of the executive order, and the executive order will only last, as long as President Trump is in office, then the next president, we don't know. They could rescind it. That is why the time is now to get the ball rolling, to see some breakthroughs. He said, it's not the time to sit around and, well, no, we can't just delay a little longer. We won't have to deal with this. If you're that person, we're coming after you. Okay, you need to be doing something else for a living. Korea and Bergman have been consistently advocating for continued support for psychedelic reform in the weeks since Trump signed the executive order. The two lawmakers also sponsored an amendment to the Department of Veterans Affairs funding bill on the House floor that sought to raise awareness about the benefits of psychedelic therapy and other therapies for military veterans. They additionally led a bipartisan coalition of 32 members of Congress in sending a letter urging federal health officials to expedite ongoing reviews of psychedelic therapies. Meanwhile, Senator John Fetterman also recently gave some across the aisle credit to Trump for his administration's moves to accelerate therapeutic access to psychedelics and also federally reschedule marijuana. Shortly after Trump signed the executive order, the FDA and the Department of Health and Human Services announced steps that they will help with accelerating therapeutic access to psychedelics for patients dealing with serious conditions.
Well, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said recently the Trump administration is very anxious to create a pathway for access to psychedelic therapy, and the top officials across federal agencies want to get it out to the public as quickly as possible. In an interview on Joe Rogan Experience in February, Kennedy said he's confident we're going to get it done, with plans to develop and finalize rules that would enable patients with conditions such as post-traumatic stress disorder and depression to access psychedelic substances like psilocybin and MDMA in a very controlled setting. Everybody in my agency is very anxious to get a rule out there that will allow these kind of studies and will allow access under therapeutic settings, particularly for the military soldiers who have suffered these injuries, to get access to these products, the HHS secretary said. We're working through that process now. We're all working on it and trying to make it happen. I think that we're going to get it done, he said. Last June, Kennedy said his agency is absolutely committed to expanding research on the benefits of psychedelic therapy, alongside the head of FDA is aiming to provide legal access to such substance for military veterans within 12 months. Veterans Affairs Secretary Doug Collins also disclosed in April that he had an eye-opening talk with Kennedy about therapeutic potential of psychedelic medicine, and said he's open to the idea of having the government provide vouchers to cover the costs of psychedelic therapy for veterans who receive services outside of VA as Congress considers pathways for access. Bipartisan congressional lawmakers introduced legislation this session to provide $30 million in funding annually to establish psychedelic focus centers for excellence, U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs facilities where veterans could receive novel treatment involving substances like psilocybin, MDMA, and ibogaine. Whew. U.S. committee held a hearing last month on a bipartisan bill to promote research into therapeutic potential psychedelics by creating a new office at VA that would advance development innovative treatments for serious mental health conditions and assist in reviewing the scheduling status of drugs like psilocybin, ibogaine, and MDMA. Former U.S. Speaker Newt Gingrich said ibogaine represents an astonishing breakthrough in the nation's current sick care system that's left people with serious mental health conditions without access to promising alternative treatment options. Huh.
It's awesome they're moving forward. That needs to happen everywhere, not just in the U.S.
Well, it escaped cool. I mean, it's written out cool, but how it all gets written and how the money gets divided and how it all ends up costing the consumer at the end to enjoy this psychedelic experience.
Yeah.
Well, that was the last story of this week. And thank you for joining us here on Psychedelic Reporters on NLK Network and for tuning in to our video podcast on NLK Network's Rumble and YouTube pages, as well as our social media sites, other social media sites.
That's right. We hope you enjoyed your update today of mainstream media coverage of psychedelic medicine advancements from around the globe.
What are we doing? Oh, wait. Many thanks to our sponsors and to my joint hosts, Tara Simpson and to Boothel Alvarius, and for choosing our stories, and for Kim Cooper for helping us produce the show by flicking the news up, and to you, our listeners, for joining each week on Psychedelic Tuesday. Let's hear from Dead Ringer again, from Kirkland Lake on our way out. Night! I'm looking at myself, reflections of my mind. It's just the kind of day to leave myself behind. So gently swaying through the fairyland of love. If you'll just come with me, you'll see the beauty of two.